This is Twit.
This episode of iFive for the iPhone is brought to you by Braintree. Even the best mobile app won't work without the right payments API. That's where Braintree v.0 SDK comes in. One amazingly simple integration gives you every way to pay. Try out the sandbox and see for yourself at braintreepayments.com/iFive. Welcome to iFive for the iPhone, episode 164. iFive covers the latest iPhone apps, tips, and tricks, and of course some news. Now that I've had a few weeks to get used to my iPhone 6S, I have a few more tips that I hope you'll find useful. But even if you don't have one of the new iPhones, stick around because I'll answer a question about creating a more secure password for any iPhone, plus a great app that will help you relax. I am Megan Morrone. Let's get started. Number one, let's talk about cases. Most iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus cases will fit the 6S and the 6S Plus, but not all of them. I use the Griffin Reveal clear-backed case for the 6 Plus, and it fits my 6S Plus just fine. In fact, Griffin makes no distinction between the 6 and the 6S cases on their website. My coworker Josh uses the Apple silicone case, which also fits the 6 and the 6S models. He also bought a Peel Ultra Thin case. That one is so tight that it's designed especially for the 6S. The ultra thin cases look nice and show off the color on your phone, but I wouldn't trust them on any phone if you're a persistent dropper like myself. Waterproof cases like the Mophie H2 Pro also don't make any promises about fitting the S models. But speaking of waterproofing, if you're just afraid of splashes and minor spills, you actually don't need a waterproof case. Now, Apple doesn't call the newest phones waterproof, but they also don't call the Apple Watch waterproof, and that hasn't kept me from showering with mine. But don't shower with your iPhone 6S, please. Here's the skinny on waterproofing. Our friends over at iFixit tore down the iPhone and found a gasket running around the inside of the phone, sealed with silicone surrounding all the cable connectors inside the phone, which leads us to believe that they're pretty darned waterproof. Now, if you don't believe iFixit, there are no shortage of YouTubers willing to dunk their new iPhone 6S in water to prove their point. I am not one of those YouTubers. One last issue on cases. If you buy a case that's too thick on the side, it makes it difficult to do the fancy force touch move where you press the side of the screen to scroll through apps. Now, personally, I have trouble with that trick even without a case, and I find it easier to double-click the home button. Number two is sharing live photos. Last week, I told you that you couldn't share the new 6S live photos online. Thanks to Michael from Reno, Nevada, for pointing out that this is not strictly true. There are 3 ways you can share live photos with someone else running iOS 9. And even though they can view the photos on an iPhone or an iPad, they must be running iOS 9. The easiest way is to text a live photo to someone using the Messages app. You can also airdrop a photo to someone, or you can create a shared photo album. It should be noted that live photos take up more space than regular photos, so you might not want to send them to anyone at all, or you might want to turn them into still photos first and then send them or post them on the web. To do that, open the live photo, tap Edit, then tap the live photo icon in the top left side of the screen. If you change your mind, tap it again and turn it back into a live photo. Number 3 is the iOS News app. Mobile news is having a moment. Facebook has their instant articles deal with publishers that give you faster access to articles in the New York Times and National Geographic, BuzzFeed, The Atlantic, The Guardian, and many others. Now, last week, Twitter announced Moments. That's their new news curation tool that offers you the best of Twitter on one page. And then Google just announced AMP, a new open source way of making mobile web pages load faster. But let's not forget Apple's new News app in iOS 9 that lets you customize the page so you can see all your favorite topics and news sources in one place. If you have a 6S, you can also use 3D Touch to get your news even faster. Press the icon to peek at the most recent topics or news sources, or to go directly to your customized newspaper called For You. If you see a story you think you might want to read but you're not sure you want to commit, press it to peek at the story. Swipe up to get additional options like, save, or share the story. If you know you want to read the story, just press harder on it to open. All stories are also tagged by topic. If you want to learn more, you can peek or pop on those tags too. This episode of iFive for the iPhone is brought to you by Braintree. Developers around the world have embraced the Braintree v.0 SDK as the easiest way to add secure mobile payments to their apps and websites. No matter what payment type, Braintree accepts it. Apple Pay, Android Pay, PayPal, Venmo, credit cards, even Bitcoin. And when there's a new way to pay, Braintree will support that too. It's the same payment solution used by Uber, Airbnb, and GitHub, so you know it scales. You get simple, secure payments with code you can integrate in minutes. If you don't have time, give them a call and they'll handle the integration for you and walk you through it. They have SDKs in 7 languages: .NET, Node.js, Java, Perl, PHP, Python, Ruby. Excellent code with clear documentation. Braintree gives you an easy way to accept multiple payment types with one integration. Integrating it into your app is as easy as inserting a few lines of code. Try out the sandbox and see for yourself at braintreepayments.com/iFive. Number 4 is an excellent question from Beth. She writes, at an Apple store last night, I saw an employee unlock his phone by swiping with his finger over the 10 keypad. The finger left a trail showing a pattern. It looked really cool and it was fast. Beth went on to say that she found a jailbreak tweak that did this, but she could not find a legitimate app and is in search of something to make her phone even more resistant to thieves. Now, this is a great question, Beth, and thanks for sending it because I learned a lot while I was looking for your answer. First, the app you saw the guy at the Apple store using is for employees only. 2 of my inside sources tell me that this is just part of Apple's in-house retail app. Also, they're not logging into the phone with the swipe pattern, they're logging into special point-of-sale devices. I asked Renee Ritchie over at iMore if he'd ever heard of an app that could replace the Apple lock mechanism, and he said there are no official iOS apps that can do this because the lock screen is a separate, secure process. Beth also commented on how speedy the unlock was at the Apple store, so I asked her if speed she was after, why she didn't just use Touch ID. She said she wanted security, and of course people can bypass the fingerprint sensor and try to hack your passcode. Beth also pointed out the very legitimate problem with fingerprints. If your password gets hacked, you can change it, but if somebody knows your fingerprint, you are out of luck. So let's talk about a stronger iPhone passcode. One of the features of iOS 9 is that now you can create a 6-digit passcode for more security. In fact, this feature is turned on by default. For those of you who want to go in the other direction, back to the 4-digit passcode, here's how. Go to Settings, tap Touch ID and Passcode, enter your passcode, tap Change Passcode, then enter your old passcode, then type Passcode Options and choose 4-digit numeric code. Then enter your new, shorter passcode. Beth also said that she already uses a special passcode, so I assume she already knows this, but for those of you who don't, here is how to create a longer alphanumeric passcode for your phone. Go to Settings, tap Touch ID and Passcode, enter your passcode, tap Change Passcode, enter your old passcode, tap Passcode Options, and then tap Custom Alphanumeric Code. Then enter your new passcode. Another way to help protect your data on your phone is to make sure you have Find My Phone turned on. If you've left your phone somewhere, you'll have a better chance of finding it before a thief does. Also, with Activation Lock and Remote Erase, you can help protect the personal information on your phone by preventing anyone from using your iPhone if you ever lose your device. Number 5 is a new app called Pause. It turns your iPhone into a relaxation device. I am a busy person and I almost never take the time to stop and slow down, and it doesn't matter how many articles I read about how meditation makes us calmer and smarter and healthier and richer and just all around better. I have not found a way to take 5 minutes to make my mind like water. I could blame technology, or I could use technology to help me relax. Pause is a new iOS app that combines Tai Chi and mindfulness practice to remind you to slow down. It is a beautiful app designed at Us2, that's the same studio that created the beautiful iOS app Monument Valley. Pause is simple. You just touch the dot and then follow it with your finger. If you go too fast, the app will remind you to slow down. There's also the requisite spa music and a timer to remind you just how slow time moves when you're trying to force yourself to relax. Pause is $1.99 in the App Store. And that does it for this episode. Thanks for watching. All of the apps, links, and other info from the show can be found at twit.tv/iFive. You can email ideas, questions, or general feedback to iFive@twit.tv. I'm Megan Morrone. We'll see you next week on iFive for the iPhone.
Bandwidth for iFive for the iPhone is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.